Sex addiction isn't about being addicted to sex. It's simply being addicted to certain behaviors. It's like your drug of choice. Like a drug addict isn't addicted to all drugs, they have a drug of choice. You know, we have a drink of choice, a drug of choice. We also have our sex of choice. There are certain behaviors that you find addictive. Hey guys, I'm behavioral health and sex addiction recovery coach Rob Lopicola, and I'm glad you're here today. And if you are here, you're probably asking yourself, am I a sex addict? So you go online and you do some research. Well, what is sex addiction exactly? And if you're looking for the definition of sex addiction or wondering if you are a sex addict, well, you probably are then, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be searching. So that might be something that we need to take a look at. In your behaviors and in your patterns, if addiction to sex is really beginning to, well, make your life unmanageable. So what is sex addiction? First, I want to introduce myself if you don't know me yet. I am a former NBC weatherman at WPTV in Palm Beach, Florida, Rob Lopicola, and I was sex addicted and methamphetamine addicted for years, and ultimately the culmination of my addictions and all of my choices and decisions brought me to a place of desperation, a place of pure loneliness and isolation, shame, and illegal activity. I had cyber sex with a high school teen I met on Craigslist, crossed some lines, and I did time in prison. I hit a really hard rock bottom over about 12 years ago. Well, since then, I have been free from addiction. I surrendered my addiction completely, and I am no longer addicted to sexual behaviors. I'm no longer addicted to methamphetamine. I was alcoholic as well, and I'm now experiencing 12 years of sobriety. But I had to hit the handcuffs. I had to hit a really hard bottom of losing everything, from television, weather forecasting, to homelessness, bankruptcy, and then illegal activity. My sex addiction just destroyed all my morals and values, and that's what it does. If you're struggling with sex addiction, it will destroy all of your morals, all of your values. It'll destroy all of your logic and common sense, and it will destroy your reason of consequences of what will happen with the choices and decisions you make. We fall into a place of living horribly and living animalistically, especially if you're addicted to methamphetamine or alcohol or cocaine or other substances in with your sex addiction. If you're becoming multi-addicted, it just exasperates the problem 100-fold. So that's a little bit about my story. I'm not proud of it, but I did rise from the ashes, and I use my experience, strength, and hope, and my credentials to now help you if you are battling sex addiction, to transform your life. Not a life where you no longer have sex, but a life where you can express yourself sexually in a healthy way, free from shame, guilt, isolation, and secrets. And I want to help you live a life where you're prospering and you're successful and you have saved your marriage, your relationships, your career, and your future. I don't want you to go down the same or even a similar path that I went. So I'm here to help you. So I'm glad you're here, and we're going to talk about sex addiction. Well, what is sex addiction? Now, we can make it complicated, we can make it very simple, and that's my choice. Keep it simple. Sex addiction is an addiction to certain sexual behaviors that once you start acting out on those behaviors, you're out of control and you seemingly are unable to stop those behaviors. Another aspect of sex addiction is those sexually addictive behaviors are making your life unmanageable, and they're starting to destroy parts of your life. The process of sex addiction is progressive. So it may start out with addiction to pornography or masturbation, or an occasional anonymous hookup, or maybe sex in a public place like a bathroom or a park. It may seemingly be somewhat innocent between two consenting adults type thing, but it is progressive like all addictions. They are progressive and eventually fatal. If you are sex addicted and you're here, your sex addiction is probably getting out of control at this point, because if you were in the early stages of sex addiction, you probably wouldn't be questioning it, nor would you be here. You're probably at a point now where your sex addiction has progressed to such a point where it really is interfering in your happiness, perhaps in your relationship or your marriage or in your career, or you realize that you are living in such a desperate state of mind of self-hatred and self-loathing and regret and shame and guilt and all of those horrific feelings that you're seeking help. You're seeking to understand sex addiction and to really come to terms with the fact whether you are one or not. Sex addiction isn't about being addicted to sex. It's simply being addicted to certain behaviors. It's like your drug of choice. Like a drug addict isn't addicted to all drugs, they have a drug of choice. I was crystal meth addicted, so I could do cocaine or marijuana or ecstasy, but I wasn't attracted to them per se. But crystal meth, boy, that was my drug of choice. Same thing with alcohol for me. I wasn't addicted to beer per se, but I did love my shots of tequila. So, we have a drink of choice, a drug of choice. We also have our sex of choice. There are certain behaviors that you find addictive. It could be prostitutes. It could be a grinder. It's an addiction. You could be addicted to grinder right now. You could be addicted to anonymous sex or addicted to going to public restrooms and glory holes, as I just mentioned, public parks. You could be addicted to flirting. I mean, flirting could be a form of sexual addiction. You can walk into a room and you could scope the whole room and then find that one person that you're going to go flirt with, hit on, and maybe go home with. That's the thrill of sex addiction. It dumps massive amounts of dopamine in your body to pick somebody up at a party or go to a public restroom or go to a video store with glory holes. It gets you all excited. It gets that adrenaline pumping. And if you're sex addicted, you know the feeling when you go toward an activity that you know makes you feel good. You get that adrenaline. Your heart rate starts increasing. Your body temperature rises. You're full of excitement. And then you go and you have your experience. And another part of sex addiction is when you're done, when you have reached orgasm or you're satisfied with the experience that you were seeking. Hunting is part of sex addiction, hunting for the fix. Once you achieve that, now you feel inferior, you feel dirty, you're filled with shame and guilt, self-hatred, self-loathing, self-deprecation. You feel unworthy, you hate yourself. See, those are the consequences of certain sexual behaviors that are addictive. Those are the consequences of sex addiction. A healthy-minded sexual person doesn't walk away from their sexual experience hating themselves and feeling filled with shame and guilt and all of those negative qualities. A healthy sexual person doesn't feel that way. So if you feel that way, yes, you probably are sex addicted. But I do want to let you know that sex addiction, because it's progressive, there are different stages of sex addiction. There's the early stages of sex addiction, which statistics show start generally in the teen years. When you're a teenager, you're starting to get enthralled by certain activities that kind of give you a fix and make you feel good. And generally, we seek out those sexual behaviors to feel validated, wanted, loved, nurtured, needed, cared for. Somebody wants us, so we feel good. Whatever the psychological reasons are, you can see a therapist for that. I do coaching. My coaching is to look at where you are now, where you want to go, and set goals and strategies to get there. Therapists will take a look at the reason why you're sex addicted. Me personally, it doesn't matter why you're sex addicted. If you're drowning, I'm throwing you a life raft, let's get you out. That's the main concern. Later on, we can take a look at behaviors and strategies so you don't go into a drowning situation again. But a lot of the consequences of sex addiction is all that self-hatred and self-loathing, and healthy sexual people don't feel that way. So if you're feeling that way after your sexual activity, odds are you're sex addicted. But we have those stages, the early onset, which starts in the teen years. Most sex addicts are statistically addicted to sex or a sexual behavior by 18 years old. And then generally there's about two decades of progressive sexual behaviors that become more and more addictive, more and more out of control, and more destructive to your life. And most sex addicts seek help in their late 30s, about 37 to 38 years old. Is that where you are now, in your late 30s, early 40s, where you're finally seeking help? I didn't seek help till I was 32 years old. I started realizing I'm a little bit out of control with my drinking and my sex. Later on, when I lost everything, I was homeless, and I fell into an alcoholic depression, and then went to crystal meth, and I was meth addicted for a couple of years, and then all morals and values were out the toilet. They were gone, and I was just a nutcase. But I'm not laughing lightly at it. I just look back and I laugh at that my addiction took me to such a horrific place, and it will take you to a horrific place. If you are sex addicted, if you are experiencing some of what we talked about here in this video, it is progressive. It will get worse. The porn you're watching will get deeper and darker. The sexual activity you do will get deeper and darker and more hardcore. You're going to need more to get the same fix, and that will progress until you get to a point in your life where you are hopeless and you don't live up to your promises. Morals and values, again, they're gone. You're cheating on your wife or husband or partner. You're hating yourself. You look in the mirror and you just hate who you have become. You're lying. You have secrets and shame, and you're losing your jobs, and you're just out of control. Well, yeah, sex addiction certainly is an issue. And what I want to end this video with is, if you fit somewhere in all of this chaos of sex addiction, and if you are a sex addict, I'm sure you relate to a lot of what I talked about. And check out my other YouTube videos. I have so many videos, over 100 videos on this channel here, that talk about all the symptoms of sex addiction and all the strategies to break that pattern out of your life. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And I post a new video every Tuesday, so you'll always get more videos to talk about strategies and techniques to break that. But today I wanted to talk about one remedy to your sex addiction. There's one remedy. Now, there's multiple strategies and techniques that you can do, learn, apply, practice, and master along your journey of healing and going from sex addiction to a life of healthy sexual expression. But there is one remedy. One, you must admit complete defeat. You understand that? The one remedy is to admit to yourself that sex addiction has defeated you. There is no more negotiating with sex addiction. There is no more acting out on those sexual behaviors and coming up with a positive, constructive, encouraging, upbuilding outcome. It's over. You are defeated by your sex addiction. It has won. You're at a place of hopelessness and despair. And if you are in a place of hopelessness and despair where you feel you hate yourself so much and you have so many self-deprecating feelings, and your internal dialogue about yourself is just horrific, and you feel so inferior, and you're wearing masks everywhere you go, and you don't want anyone to know who the real you is, well, then you're at a point to admit complete defeat. Yes, that is the one remedy. Can you admit complete defeat by your sex addiction? Because if you become aware that your sex addiction is stronger than you, your sex addiction is stronger than your will at this point, then you're going to be ready for some skills and strategies and techniques to learn, apply, practice, and master. But until you admit complete defeat, you're not going to be ready. Does that make sense? You're not ready to transform your life from a sex-addicted lifestyle to a life of healthy sexual expression until you can truly face the fact that sex addiction has you beaten. Because only then will you be willing to do what it takes to change your life. Because recovering out of this addiction is not for you just because you want it, and it's not for you just because you need it. It's for you if you're done, if you can admit defeat, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to change and transform your life. Are you willing to do whatever it takes? And if your answer is yes, I'm offering you right now a free 10-step strategy session. It's 30 minutes long, and it gets more in depth. As you watch the full 30 minutes, it gets more and more in depth. I start out kind of light, but it gets more in depth of what you need to do to change and transform your life out of your sex addiction. So I'll have the link below. It's a 10-step strategy session to break free from sex addiction. It's going to start your transformation. It's going to start your recovery. So I strongly suggest you watch this video. And again, I do post a video every Tuesday here on my YouTube channel. So please subscribe, hit a thumbs up if you like this video, and feel free to throw a comment if you can relate to any of this. I'd love to talk with you. And talk with you about your sex addiction pattern, and maybe give you some skills and strategies to start changing your life. Because if you're here, I know you do. So I thank you very much for being here. Again, I'm behavioral health and sex addiction recovery coach Rob Lopicola. That's what I'm doing today, and I want to help you as much as I can. So feel free to reach out. Have a great day, and I'll see you again next Tuesday.